Born Judith Eldridge on December 15, 1946, Judy seemed to have a happy life. She became a dedicated home care nurse in the Boston area, with compassion that was evident to everyone she encountered. In the mid-1980s, while caring for an older patient, she met the patient's son, Judy Smith. Jeffrey was a divorcee with a grown daughter and was drawn to Judy, who herself had 2 adult children from a previous marriage. By September 1996, the couple exchanged vows, marking the start of what they hoped would be a happy new chapter of their lives. Jeffrey's career, like Judy's, was also in healthcare, but as a lawyer, representing a prestigious group of researchers and executives across the New England area. 8 months after their wedding, in April of 1997, the newlyweds planned their first trip together as husband and wife. They would attend a conference in Philadelphia from April 9th to April 11th, 1997, followed by spending the remainder of the week visiting friends in nearby New Jersey. On April 9th, 1997, Judy and Jeffrey Smith arrived at Boston Logan International Airport to board their flight to Philadelphia. But as they prepared to check in, Judy realized she had forgotten her driver's license. Without another way to verify her identity, she wouldn't be able to board the flight. Judy assured Jeffrey she would head back home to retrieve her ID and catch a later flight that same day. True to her word, she reunited with him that evening in the lobby of the DoubleTree Hotel in Center City, Philadelphia. She even greeted him with flowers, a heartfelt gesture to apologize for the earlier inconvenience and to smooth over the unexpected delay in their plans. Before going to sleep, the couple discussed plans for the following day. Judy, who had never been to Philadelphia, wanted to explore the city's iconic landmarks, while Jeffrey was moderating the day's events for the conference. She said that she planned to take the Philadelphia Flash tourist bus for some sightseeing and then visit Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. Then they would reunite at the hotel for the conference's cocktail party at 6 p.m. When Jeffrey returned to their room after his final session of the day, Judy wasn't there. At first, he assumed she had come back, changed clothes, and headed to the party ahead of him, perhaps confused about their meeting arrangements. However, when he arrived downstairs, she was nowhere to be found. Jeffrey began to grow uneasy. He returned to the room, hoping to find her there waiting for him, but it was empty. He went back and forth between the hotel room and the party, each time finding no trace of Judy. Finally, he alerted a concierge, who immediately began calling area hospitals. Not willing to stand idly by, Jeffrey took matters into his own hands and hired a cab driver to slowly follow the route of the Philadelphia Flash sightseeing bus, the same one Judy had mentioned. Jeffrey scanned the streets for any sign of her, but he didn't see Judy. Growing more desperate, he called his stepchildren back in Boston, asking one of them to check their home answering machine for any messages, but again, nothing. By midnight, with no other leads, Jeffrey went to the Philadelphia police station to report Judy missing. But instead of immediate action, he was met with frustrating bureaucracy. The officers informed him that he couldn't file a missing person report until 24 hours had passed since he'd last seen her. A detective added, somewhat dismissively, that if Jeffrey wanted to push it, he could return in the morning to file the report. The next day, he spoke directly with prominent figures attending the conference he was moderating, including then-Mayor of Philadelphia Ed Rendell and Pennsylvania State Representative John Purcell. Jeffrey shared his frustration with how his concerns about his missing wife were being handled, and it seemed his persistence paid off. When Jeffrey returned to the police station later that evening, the atmosphere had shifted. 2 detectives were waiting for him, ready to take his report. Jeffrey even overheard one detective on the phone, noting that Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Neal was to receive a copy of the report. In the days following Judy's mysterious disappearance, her face was everywhere. Philadelphia newspapers and TV stations ran stories about Judy's disappearance, and Jeffrey, along with family and friends, blanketed the city with flyers featuring her photograph. The efforts yielded a stream of sightings, some credible, others less so. Early reports placed a disoriented woman matching Judy's description near Broad and Locust Streets around 3 p.m. on the same day she vanished. Similar accounts came from Penn's Landing, a bustling tourist area served by the sightseeing bus Judy had planned to take. However, both police and family later concluded that these witnesses likely confused Judy with a homeless woman in the area who bore an uncanny resemblance to her. So much so that even Judy's own son mistook the woman for his mother from a distance. Then a hotel employee reported seeing a woman matching Judy's description that same morning, asking where she could catch a nearby bus. A bus driver later claimed to have picked her up near Front and South Streets that afternoon and remembers possibly dropping her off at a stop close to her hotel. Additional reports surfaced of a woman seen entering and leaving Philadelphia's Greyhound bus terminal near Chinatown. Her family speculated she may have even gone to Chinatown for a meal that day, yet none of the nearby restaurants recalled serving her. Then came the most bizarre reported sighting. Staff at the Society Hill Hotel remembered a peculiar guest staying there from April 13th to 15th, signing in under the name H.K. Rich/Collins. The woman's behavior was unsettling. She reportedly spoke in tongues, loudly claimed the emperor would wire her money, and engaged in inappropriate acts by an open window. Back at Penn's Landing, a homeless man insisted he had seen Judy, not the look-alike, sleeping on a bench near him the night before, on April 14th. On April 15th, he told the family they had just missed her. But despite their best efforts, they found no trace of her in the area. The sightings extended beyond the immediate Philadelphia area. A Macy's employee and a customer at the Deptford Mall in New Jersey reported a woman fitting Judy's description shopping for dresses. She mentioned she was buying a dress for her daughter, though she admitted her daughter often disliked her choices, something Judy's family confirmed was true. Both witnesses noted the distinctive red backpack Judy was known to carry, which seemed to solidify their claims. Months after Judy's disappearance, Jeffrey Smith was expressing growing frustration with what he saw as resistance and skepticism from the Philadelphia police. While the department had cooperated with him on some fronts, Jeffrey felt like there were lingering doubts about his account of events. One detective, he alleged, continued to suggest that she might have staged her disappearance as part of a midlife crisis. Jeffrey also felt the investigation's focus was disproportionately on him as a suspect. Then Philadelphia Police Captain John McGinnis later explained the reasoning. Statistically, 85 to 90% of women who are murdered are killed by someone close to them, a family member, spouse, or boyfriend. We had to consider Jeffrey Smith a suspect until proven otherwise. Jeffrey did his best to cooperate, going as far as allowing police to interview his stepdaughter without him present, even though it distressed him. But he grew frustrated when police expressed doubts about whether Judy had ever been in Philadelphia at all. They questioned how an experienced traveler like her, someone who had once flown solo to Thailand to visit the family of a grateful patient, could have forgotten her driver's license, which she had left behind in Boston. Jeffrey explained that this was likely an honest mistake. The rule requiring identification for flights was relatively new in 1997, and Judy had only flown once since it was put into effect. Corroborating Judy's presence in Philadelphia proved challenging. The hotel did not keep a guest register, and the only staff member who recalled seeing her was a desk clerk. Months later, a fellow conference attendee came forward to report having seen Judy in the hotel lobby upon her arrival. But since he did not know her personally, police remained cautious about his statement. Adding to the uncertainty, detectives noted that Judy's clothes left in the hotel room appeared unworn, suggesting she may have worn the same outfit during her flight and on the day she disappeared. There were no cosmetics in her belongings, but her daughter clarified this was typical for Judy, who often traveled light. One contentious point in the investigation was Jeffrey's alleged refusal to take a lie detector test. Jeffrey insisted he never outright refused. Instead, he set conditions. He wanted the test administered by the FBI and requested that if he passed, the FBI join the investigation. However, police claimed Jeffrey knew the FBI would not take the case and still declined to take a test administered by the Massachusetts State Police, at request of the Philadelphia Police Department. Deputy Commissioner Richard Zappel remarked, "Certain conditions were met, but as far as I'm concerned, he refused." Feeling increasingly desperate for help, Jeffrey enlisted the assistance of 2 private investigators to aid in the search for his wife. One of the investigators later shared a lead with a reporter. A man had approached him, explaining that, while leaving a Wawa near Rittenhouse Square early one morning, just before 6 a.m., he noticed a well-dressed white woman sitting outside, an unusual sight for that time of day. Several days later, the man came across a newspaper article about Judy's disappearance and recognized the woman he had seen, realizing she closely resembled Judy. As months passed, Jeffrey continued to distribute his wife's missing person flyers to hospitals across the country, while the investigators and police pressed on in their efforts to locate her. Then, on September 7, 1997, a father and son hunting deer in North Carolina's Pisgah National Forest, roughly 9 miles from Asheville, North Carolina, stumbled upon a chilling discovery. Scattered across a 300-foot-wide area were human bones, seemingly disturbed and dispersed by animals. At the center of the area was a shallow grave containing the majority of the skeleton, still partially buried and clothed. The leg bones were found intact, dressed in jeans, thermal underwear, and hiking boots. Nearby, investigators recovered several personal items. A blue and black vinyl backpack contained winter clothes and $80 in cash. A shirt located nearby had $87 in its pocket. Together, the cash totaled $167, close to the $200 Jeffrey thought she had on her. The remains were sent to the state medical examiner, who determined rather quickly that the woman had been fatally stabbed, and her death was classified as a homicide. Her bones bore signs of cutting, and a bra found nearby showed puncture marks and slashes, evidence of multiple stabbings. The victim, a white woman between the ages of 40 and 55, had undergone extensive dental work and suffered from severe arthritis in her left knee. But with no wallet or identification among the remains, the victim was initially classified as a Jane Doe. Not long after, an emergency room physician in Franklin, North Carolina, approximately 65 miles west of Asheville, read an article about the discovered remains and recognized details that matched a missing person flyer. The physician faxed the article to the Philadelphia police, and a detective requested Judy's dental records, which Jeffrey promptly provided. After comparing the records, the Asheville medical examiner confirmed the remains belonged to Judy Smith. The identification of Judy Smith's remains brought the missing person investigation to an end but opened an unsettling new chapter. A murder investigation, and questions immediately emerged. Why was Judy in North Carolina, dressed for hiking in the mountains, when she had vanished from Philadelphia? The clothes found with her remains did not match the outfit she was last seen wearing, raising further questions about her movements and timeline. The presence of her wedding ring and cash suggested robbery was not the motive. However, her red backpack and other personal items she was believed to have with her was missing. Adding to the mystery, a pair of expensive sunglasses found near her remains did not belong to Judy, according to her family. The Buncombe County Sheriff's Office in North Carolina took over the investigation, faced with the daunting challenge of piecing together her final days and understanding how she had ended up in the Asheville area. Judy's family was just as perplexed by her presence in North Carolina. They could not recall her ever expressing interest in the region, nor did she have any known connections there. Several people in the Asheville area came forward with reports of having seen Judy, or someone matching her description, during April 1997. A clerk at a local retailer recalled interacting with Judy, describing her as alert and pleasant. The woman mentioned that her husband was an attorney from Boston attending a conference in Philadelphia, and that she had decided to visit the Asheville area during that time. "She seemed very alert to me," the clerk said. "She was very pleasant. I didn't see anything about her that would indicate that she wasn't right in any way." Perhaps the most striking recollections came from witnesses near the remote area where Judy's body was later discovered. The owner of a campground recalled a woman in a gray sedan packed with boxes and bags. Judy reportedly asked if she could spend the night in her car at the campsite, but left after learning she could not. Similarly, a local deli owner said that Judy arrived in a gray sedan, purchased $30 worth of sandwiches, and bought a toy truck. Local investigators deemed these sightings credible, adding weight to the theory that Judy had made her way to Asheville willingly and spent time there before her death. However, why did she travel there? Who, if anyone, was with her during this journey? And what was the significance of the gray sedan, a vehicle no one in her life recognized or could account for? After further investigation, the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office officially ruled out Judy Smith's husband, Jeffrey Smith, as a suspect in her murder. His alibi, attending the conference on the day Judy disappeared, was corroborated, and his physical condition at the time made it highly improbable for him to have carried Judy's body up the steep slope where it was found. Jeffrey, who passed away in 2005, was a large man, a factor that detectives believe would have rendered him incapable of disposing of her remains in such a remote location. Despite this, Philadelphia police never formally cleared him as a suspect, leaving some lingering doubt in their records. While Jeffrey and Judy's children maintain that the marriage was stable at the time of her disappearance, others offered a different perspective. Carolyn Dickey, a friend of Judy's, told the television show Unsolved Mysteries in 2001. "At the time this happened, Jeff and Judy's marriage was very tenuous. I believe that something did happen that triggered her to want to have some time away from Jeff." Another theory is the possible involvement of Gary Michael Hilton, a notorious serial killer later convicted of several murders along hiking trails in the Appalachian Mountains between 2007 and 2008. Hilton's MO included targeting hikers in remote national forests, and he left one victim's body near the area where Judy's remains were found. However, there is no evidence linking him to her case. These conflicting narratives and theories have left Judy Smith's murder unsolved, with investigators still struggling to piece together her final movements and determine the identity of her killer.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.